Hello and welcome to this video. I'm glad you're here. This is gonna be a watercolor tutorial or guide, very beginner friendly. I think watercolor is one of my favorite traditional mediums, and I know that some people might find it stressful. I personally find it very therapeutic. So let me share my wisdom and experience with you so you can discover and appreciate the beauty of this medium as well. First and foremost, which watercolor to buy? I think it's a tricky question. For example, I have this one. I got it over 10 years ago, but I guess it was pretty much expensive. It's an extremely good quality watercolor. I also have this palette of metallic watercolors and it was €1. So you can look up on internet what brands have good watercolors. Just remember, you don't have to buy the most expensive watercolor in the world, but also you don't have to buy the most cheapest one. Just aim for something that is in your budget and you're comfortable with. Especially when you're just starting out, you don't need the most fanciest materials, but having at least good quality materials also enhances the experience working with it, and as a result you enjoy it more. Now let's talk about paper. Of course, there is a specific watercolor paper. It has a bit of texture on one side, and this texture allows you for more control over the watercolor. Of course, you can use very smooth paper. The most important point is that the paper is thick. Now, how to find out whether the paper is thick enough if you cannot touch it? Usually on the package it says how thick the paper is. Like here it says 180 grams per square meter. And this is usually enough. Now this one is 190. It's a bit thicker and I find it even better. The thickness of paper is totally your choice, but please don't use just basic print paper like this. It won't work, trust me. For example, in this sketchbook, it's not a print paper, it's a bit thicker, but it's still not thick enough. And as you can see, the paper starts bending, although the watercolor layer is very thin. Just remember, the thicker the better, starting off with 180 grams per square meter. Now onto brushes. Watercolor is a very gentle material. For example, I have this set. It's made of polyester and it says it's perfect for watercolor and acrylic painting, sorry. It's in German. But personally, when I use them, I feel like it kinda destroys the paper. I still use them because they look pretty much aesthetically pleasing in the frame, but I wouldn't recommend using them. Also, I have this set. It said it's made of natural hair and it's also perfect for acrylic, oil and watercolor. But just look how robust it is. I think it will destroy not only the paper but also the watercolor. I use this set usually for painting with acrylic on canvas, not on paper. Now to the good examples. This is my usual set that I use, and most of the brushes I have since the times I attended an art school. You don't really have to know all the details and intricacies about the brushes. You can choose a good brush for watercolors just by touching it. Here I have two pretty much similar brushes. One is extremely soft and the other has more resistance to it. So I would recommend softer one for watercolors and more harsh and robust brushes for acrylic or oil. Brushes also have different shapes, and which one do you want to use depends on which effect you want to achieve with this brush. Watercolor. As the name implies, this medium likes water and is activated by water. So before use it, I recommend to spray it with water or add water manually using the brush. Now onto the colors. You can get different colors by mixing them. Also, you can get different shades of those colors by adding more water. Just remember the golden rule. More water, the colors are more transparent. More paint, the colors are more opaque. Now I would like to talk about some basic techniques for watercolors. Starting off with wet on dry. You take the paint with a brush and you apply it on dry paper. Then optionally you can clean your brush and pull it, slowly decreasing the saturation of color to create a gradient. Another technique is wet on wet. So before applying the paint, first you get some amount of water on the paper and then you add paint. Another technique you can use, you can have a generous amount of paint on the brush, and by slowly tapping the brush, you can get these cute and nice splatters. For the next technique, you will need a straw. So first you apply paint on paper, and then by blowing air through the straw, you create this pattern. For the next one, you have a generous amount of water. You place a drop on paper, and then you hold your painting vertically so the water with paint can run down and create this pattern. Also remember, you can use different brushes to create different patterns. It all depends on your control over the brush and movements. Another thing I want to briefly talk about is masking. There is masking tape, fluid, and pen. I have this one. It's a masking marker, and it allows you to have unpainted areas. You apply it on the spot you want to leave unpainted, let it dry, paint with watercolor over it, and then remove it by rubbing it. You can use an eraser, but be careful to not destroy the layer of watercolor. That's it for this video. If you have any questions about watercolors or you want me to make a tutorial on another medium or technique, let me know in the comments. Feel free to join me for more art-related content like this. Thank you so much for watching. Create and enjoy. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!